At 82 years old, I've learned a lot about life, but moving into a nursing home is the one thing I really wish I hadn't done. I thought it was the best choice at the time. My family talked to me about how this place would give me all the care and comfort I needed, that I wouldn't have to think about anything, and that I would be safe and well taken care of. Their words made sense to me, and I believed that this change would make my life easier and grant me peace of mind. What I saw when I got there, though, was very different from what they had told me. It became clear to me that moving into a nursing home isn't just a matter of ease, it's a complete life change that affects every part of your daily life. If you like this subject, please subscribe and activate the alarm bell to make sure you don't miss more posts like this. Your help is important. Yes, I know that a lot of people are thinking about this choice, either for themselves or for someone they care about. They might think it is the healthiest choice, the most sensible, or the one that will best serve their health in the long run. It's possible that someone told them it would be best for everyone. But before you do that, let me tell you 6 things I wish I knew before I moved in, because it's not as easy to leave a nursing home as it seems once you're there. You might be surprised by some of these lessons. If you know someone who is thinking about this video might be just what they need to see before they make a choice that will change their life forever. It wasn't the small room, the strict meal times, or even the fact that I was living with strangers that made me feel the worst after I moved in. I was hit hard by the harsh truth that I had lost charge of my life. Before I moved in, I had my regular habits set in stone. I chose when and what to eat, what time to wake up, how to plan my day, and what to do with my free time. To go for a walk, all I would do is grab my coat and leave. I would go to the kitchen and make something special the way I liked it, if I really wanted to cook it. There were no rules about how I could live my life, or what made me happy in my house. But inside the care home, everything is set up in a rigid way that doesn't take into account what each person wants. I knew right away that I no longer had control over my time from the first day. No matter if I was hungry or not, meals were served at set times. No matter if I was ready to sleep or not, the lights went out at a set time. If I wanted to go for a walk, I had to ask permission and wait for someone to be free to go with me. This could mean long waits, or, more often than not, just being turned down because there weren't enough staff. Things I used to be able to choose for myself every day, like what things to wear or what to do with my day, became rights that someone else could give me or not. I have a clear memory of my first week there. Out of habit, I reached for my book in the morning. It was the same book I read every night before bed. But when I looked around, I saw that everything was very empty. This wasn't my house. The books, furniture, and other small things I had gathered over the years, and that made my house special, were gone. They were gone, leaving behind cold walls, ordinary furniture, and an empty feeling I couldn't get rid of. That's when I realized I had left behind more than just my house. I had also left behind my freedom, my independence, and my ability to make my own choices. The hardest part was understanding that it's almost impossible to get your independence back once you've lost it. Because you don't have any other choice, you learn to change. You give up when they give you a meal you don't like. You no longer ask for permission to leave because you know that they will say there aren't enough staff to help you. You learn how to work with the system, but you lose who you are in the process. Before you decide to move into a care home, you should ask yourself if you are ready to give up the little things that make your life unique. You will miss them more than you ever thought possible once you lose them. One of the hardest things about living in a nursing home is understanding that other people are living their lives. When I got there, my family told me they would come see me often. They kept their promise at first. During that time, my daughter came once a week, and my grandkids spent the weekends with me. I still felt like I was a part of their lives. And as the months went by, the visits slowed down. Now my daughter calls me instead of coming to see me. My grandkids had to do their own things, go to school, and work. When they used to be times of reunion and happiness, the holidays turned into days of broken vows. They told them, "This year we will come see you." But things didn't go as planned in the end, and I was left alone to look out the window while the world went on without me. My family still loves me, don't get me wrong. Things just kept going. People may think you are okay, that you have adjusted, and that you don't need as much attention when you aren't a part of their daily lives. On the other hand, people will forget how much you need them faster the longer you stay here. One night stands out in my mind. I held the phone in my hand while sitting in my room and thought about whether I should call my son. It wasn't important to me to bother him or tell him that I was waiting for a visit that might not come. I chose not to call. I realized at that moment that this was my new life. I would just have to wait for someone to remember me as the days went by. If you want to move into a nursing home, you should ask yourself if you can handle being alone. And it doesn't matter how much your family loves you. When you're not there, it's easier than you think for you to become just another thing on their busy schedule. At first, I thought I was just moving houses when I moved here. I had no idea I was losing something much more important, the reason I live. At home, I had chores, duties, and things to do that kept me busy, like feeding the plants, making coffee, and cleaning up my space. Even though they were small, they gave me something to do. All of that went away in the nursing home, though. Every day, meals were ready at the same time. I was no longer in charge of cleaning. It wasn't my job to take care of or fix anything. I thought it would be nice at first, but as time went on, I understood that not having anything to do was slowly wearing me down. Before you decide to move into a nursing home, you should think about what makes your life worth living, because it's not as easy as it seems to get that sense of purpose back once you're there. George was 84 years old and had worked as a carpenter all his life. There was never a dull moment for him at home, where he fixed furniture and worked on small projects in his garage. But there were no tools, projects, or things to make in the nursing home. At first, he tried to have something to do, but he quickly learned that he didn't have anything to do. He slowly began to pull away and lose interest. His hands, which used to be strong and skilled, were now just sitting still on his lap. He looked at me one day and whispered, "I feel useless." I knew exactly what he meant at that moment. If you're thinking about going to a nursing home, ask yourself what makes your life worth living. You can't just fill your time with activities once you get here. You have to find a reason. Getting hold of the things that make you feel alive is always hard. I felt good for my age before I moved in, but I could take care of myself, go for walks and make my own food. I wasn't running marathons. Going to the store, stretching in the morning, and just walking around my house to keep my legs healthy were all little things I did every day to stay active. Things changed when I moved in, though. At first, I thought I was just taking it easy. My food was brought to me, so I didn't have to cook. Someone would come help me if I pressed a button. It looked like a good idea. At the time, I didn't know that the less I took care of myself, the faster I got weaker. I moved less and less over time. It felt like my legs were getting stiffer and heavy. There was more time spent sitting, and it was harder for me to get up than before. Little things I did every day helped me keep my muscles strong, but they started to fade faster than I thought they would. It wasn't just me either. What I saw happen to other neighbors who had come in on their own was the same. They began to use a cane after a few months. They had to use a stick after a while. They were in a wheelchair before they knew it. Our need for them grew as they helped us more. I remember Alice, my friend, who was 81 years old and full of life. When she got there, she said she wasn't going to slow down because she was too old. Making sure to stay busy, she walked around the building every day, but as time went on, I saw that she walked less. From then on, she used a stick. After that, I saw her in a wheelchair. She looked at me sad and said, "I don't know when it happened, but I feel like I've aged 10 years in just a few months." And she was right. You start to lose your body when you don't use it. It's easy to forget that moving isn't just for fun when everything around you is made to make life easier. It's a matter of survival. It would have helped me stay busy more if I knew how quickly I would lose my strength. It would have been hard for me not to move, but I would have forced myself to walk and do other small movements. When you are thinking about moving into a nursing home, ask yourself if you will still want to keep your body healthy if everything is set up so that you don't have to. It's not as easy as you think to get back up once you start to slow down. I also didn't fully think about the loss of privacy and respect before I moved in. I had my own place at home. At any time, I could shut the door to my room and be alone. But when you live in a nursing home, you rarely have the chance to be alone. As soon as I got there, I felt like I was always being watched. People from the staff would come and go from my room on a regular basis to do checks. In shared areas, you were never really alone. Sometimes they needed help with even the most basic things, like getting ready or going to the bathroom. I understand that the staff was just doing their job, but it's still hard to accept that you need help with things you've always done on your own. I remember how hard it was to get permission for things I had never thought of before during my first week. It was not possible for me to take a shower until someone was free to help me. When I needed to go to the bathroom, hitting the call button didn't always get me help right away. Even what I ate was out of my hands. It wasn't my choice if I didn't like what was on the menu that day. Then there was the matter of having roommates. Not everyone is lucky enough to have their own room. It can be hard to share a place with someone you didn't choose. Many people didn't have as good of a friend as I did. Some ended up with noisy, dirty roommates, or people who had memory problems that made it very hard to sleep at night. No matter how much you change things in your room, it never feels like home. It's hard to give up your dignity, and I didn't know how much I would have to give up until it was too late. When people knock on the door and don't always wait for an answer, when they talk to you like you're a patient instead of a person, and when your daily life is based on a plan you didn't make, you slowly stop feeling like yourself. If you are thinking about going to a care home, you should ask yourself if you are ready to give up the privacy and control you've had all your life. Because it's not as easy as you think to get back something as important as your freedom once you've lost it. When I first moved into the nursing home, I told myself it was only for a short time. I planned to spend some time there and see if I liked it. If not, I knew I could always return home. I thought I was in charge and that I could change my mind at any time. That being said, I had no idea how hard it would be to leave once I was inside. It seemed easy at first. If I didn't like it, I could just pack up and go home. I quickly learned, though, that the house I had left behind was different from the one I had left. It had been left empty, with no one living there or taking care of it. From afar, taking care of it became a problem. In addition, my kids had already started to make changes, and they meant well. Some of my things that they thought I wouldn't need anymore were sold. They were so sure I would never live there again that they thought about renting the house out. When I told them they might be able to come back, they paused. "Are you sure you can handle it by yourself?" They asked, "If you stay where you are, wouldn't it be safer?" "We only want what's best for you," they said. That's when I understood I wasn't made the choice to leave alone. I couldn't just pack up my things and go back to the life I used to have. But it wasn't just the details or what my family thought. It was also the change I had gone through physically without even realizing it. For months, I lived somewhere where I didn't have to cook, clean, or move around much. This made my body change. I began to lose the freedom I used to take for granted. I needed help from outside sources more than I thought I would. Going back home, which used to be a real possibility, now seemed like an impossible task. It wasn't just me who went through this. A lot of the people I met had the same story. They thought it would only be temporary when they got there, but it wasn't as easy to leave as they thought. It got harder for them to get used to life outside of the nursing home as time went on. Some people even lost the chance to come back at all. Their savings were spent on the high cost of living there, after they sold their houses. They couldn't start over because they didn't have the money or support to do so. So they had to stay. That is something that is not told to you when you decide to move in. You think you can change your mind at any time, but the truth is that most people can't go back once they join. The nursing home slowly becomes their only home. The life they used to have seems like a distant dream, something from the past that gets harder and harder to reach over time. Before you decide to go to a nursing home, you should ask yourself if you are ready for the chance that it won't be as easy to leave as you thought, because it can be harder to leave than you thought, whether it's because of money, health, or feelings of dependence on a system that does everything for you. This happens when you start to lose the freedom you once had. When I think about it, I don't regret getting older. Time has passed, and I'm okay with everything that comes with it. But I wish I hadn't thought that a care home was my only choice. I went in hoping for warmth, safety, and a better quality of life. I found a world that slowly took away everything that made me feel like myself. My freedom, my privacy, my purpose, and even who I was. Does that mean every nursing home is bad? Not all the time. There are people who really need the care and help that these places provide. Sometimes there's nothing else that can be done. But before you make such a big choice, you need to think very carefully about everything you are leaving behind. Because life changes the moment you move in. I would have fought harder to stay in my own home if I could go back in time. I would have looked into more ways to get help without giving up my freedom. Before making such a firm choice, I would have made sure I really needed to be in a nursing home. If you are thinking about this choice, I want you to ask yourself one thing. Is this really the best option for you? Or does it just seem like the easy thing to do at the moment? You should try to hold on to the life you have now, with its habits, freedom, and choices, for as long as possible, because it is beautiful. Thanks for being in this video with us. We'd love to hear what you think. Explain what you learned today and how you plan to use it in your daily life by leaving a note. Don't be shy about telling us what you think. Your voice matters to us. Reading your comments makes us want to keep making material that is meaningful and useful. If you learned something from this video, please like it, subscribe, and share it with other people who could use the knowledge. We can't keep making content that helps more people make smart choices about their futures without your help. Glad you watched, and see you in the next video.